Every deck is made for standing on, but there's only one that's always had a way of standing out. So if you're looking to bring more style, comfort, and creativity to your life outdoors, call on the brand that's known for making the most in outdoor living. From decking, railing, and lighting to furniture, fencing, and framing, at Trex, we're engineering what's next in outdoor living. To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, call 1-800-289-TREX or visit Trex.com. That's TREX.com.
Is going to happen when we go to break. I'm going to punch you in the face.
Use your words, not your fist.
Okay. No, I'm using my fist.
Use your feelings.
Trey is a dead man.
Say what you want. 5 for 8, 0 for 4.
You know what I can
Coming
do?
up, a clarification that made things more confusing, and Mike will speak, which will probably make things even more confusing.
Trey, you have a 10-second head start. Run. That's like running music.
It is, and I apparently should still be running from the beating you're going to give me. But good Thursday!
Hey.
Welcome in, Golic Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Glad you're with us. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golic Jr., Trey Wingo. It feels like this should be the start of something.
You never know what you pull out of your pocket.
What did you just do?
What just happened?
For those not watching on ESPN News, Mike just had a completely flummoxed look on his face and pulls out about 400 chocolate eggs from his pants pocket.
I forgot I had them in my pocket from like their Easter chocolate eggs.
How?
I forgot I had them in my pocket.
Pants like every day though. How long are you just walking around with chocolate eggs?
I forgot they were in my pocket. What do you want me to tell you? I forgot to eat them.
How do you not know that you have 800 chocolate eggs in your pocket?
I don't know, but they're going to get eaten pretty soon.
Well, throw me one now.
Yeah, okay. Sorry about that.
They're warm.
They might be a little melted. That's my bad.
They're a little soft.
I'm concerned by how warm they are, but not concerned enough to not eat it.
This is really disconcerting.
Yeah, I did. I
They're
forgot.
really good, though.
I forgot I had them in my pocket, but hey, you know what? I noticed you guys are mocking me, yet I noticed you both have eaten one. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Now we can start the show with a little more jacked up sugar.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was really weird.
Go
I'm
ahead.
not gonna lie.
Go ahead. Now do your thing, Trey. Do your thing.
This is very disconcerting.
But you know what? The thing is now you're going to expect a treat from me every morning, both of you, aren't you?
That's true.
Yep.
This is going to be very Pavlovian. I'm going to hear Trey say the first words on the mic and then just look over here and start salivating.
See what I'm pulling out of my pocket.
Hey, Mike, the treat for me every day is just being here next to you.
Wow, there you go.
There you go. We're a one happy family.
Yeah, we are.
Unlike the Dan Levitard Jones Stugotz.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we got beef.
Apparently they're upset.
Yeah.
And I just want to say 3 words.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, we have Stugotz on today. We'll get to the bottom of that.
That's a contraction. It's 4 words.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
Wow.
That's a fair point.
Well played,
I will give you that.
I just, I want to make sure we're buttoned up because they're going to come after us, and you guys have Stu coming on at 8.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure we're airtight right now.
But here's my bigger concern. Where are you in this? Because I feel like you could be like a double agent.
Can we really quickly, because I'm not even sure, what is the beef about?
Thank you.
We don't know.
I don't know. They're upset with us for something.
They're upset with us.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And I know Stugotz's army is
Wait,
is a
Stugotz,
strong.
you know the beef? Cliff's
got his own beef.
Yeah,
with
first of all,
Stugotz,
Cliff
too.
has his own beef with Stu.
What's going on there?
Threw Cliff under the bus the other day on their show.
For what reason?
Well, you remember Cliff came out with the take that he thought that Jay Wright was going to take the Sixers.
The horribly
take.
stupid thing that Jay Wright should take over the Sixers, who have now won 12 straight, so clearly they should fire their coach.
And so Stugotz came on the air and defended Cliff because he was going to steal that take for himself.
That seems nice.
And Stugotz said, I understand. He's like, I understand where you're coming from. I understand not being taken seriously. And so they brought Cliff on.
Yeah.
And in a moment of pseudo-deception, they brought Cliff on and asked him a question he wasn't ready for that he didn't hear, and so when Cliff didn't respond in time, they shamed Cliff on air. They turned him into more content, and so now Cliff is upset, and rightly so.
Is that what it is, Cliff?
A legitimate beef with Stugotz.
Okay, well...
So this isn't...
So Stanzik, do you know the actual beef?
So then there's a separate beef.
Oh,
They are mad that we did an etymology segment.
You mean a breadymology segment?
A breadymology
Did you know
segment.
Brett's a researcher who likes to get on air?
I did.
Okay, just
not true.
Why
So
are they?
they were mad
that.
because apparently Dan is always asking for word origins, and we were supposed to know that that's their thing.
So,
and the funny part is they did this in the same segment where they mocked LeBron for claiming barbershop arguments.
Oh, so they think we're stealing their material?
So they're claiming that they invented word origins.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
So in other words, their thing is that we should have known that Dan occasionally likes to know where words come from, even though they've never done that on the show.
Well, they do that on the show, but sparingly.
Okay. So basically,
never in a segment.
For people to understand, because I was even a little confused, just think of it this way. We're Nick Saban. We're right. and the
they're LeBron. Exactly.
Le Batard show is LeBron, and they're wrong. And the big thing out of this is, Mike, you work with Stugotz. You have a Stugotz Army shirt.
He's treasonous.
You basically, if this is going to continue, you have to burn that shirt on air.
Listen,
no,
I look at the situation like this. I am fully ready to support you guys in this. I am going to be right here with you every step of the way. I know the enemy really well in this situation, so I feel like it can be an asset. But the minute this turns south and I feel like they're going to win, I'm jumping ship.
Double agent. He's a double agent.
Well, that means he's an agent against us, though, Trey. We want loyalty.
Listen, I'm gonna be
snake in the grass.
I'm going to be on the winning side of this. Whatever side this is up for grabs. I hope it's you guys. I'm rooting for you. You guys have an early head start right now because Stugotz definitely isn't awake at this point.
You truly are Stugotzian with that take.
Broadcasting 101. Be on the side that pays best.
Think of it this way. Our side has Brett. Their side doesn't.
That's fair.
That's a powerful ally in the war to come.
He puts the size in seismology.
There you go.
And we should probably do actual sports.
Probably.
It's time for Off the Top.
Whether you like it or not, it's just beginning.
With Golic and Wingo.
Well, it is the start of the Masters today, and we couldn't have gotten off to a better start with Masters Week with what happened in the par 3 contest. First of all, Tom Watson at 68. Became the oldest par 3 champion. By the way, no par 3 champion has ever won the Masters, and that will continue because Tom Watson is not playing in the Masters. So, but how about that? At 68, he wins the par 3 contest. And you're thinking, well, that's pretty cool. That's a nice thing that happened. But that was not even the headline from what happened at the par 3 contest. On the 9th hole, Tom was playing with Gary Player and Jack Nicklaus, and Jack let his grandson, GT, who was his caddy, take a swing. He was a pretty good golfer in his own right, 15 years old, wearing sneakers and the caddy overalls, dropped in an ace.
Yeah, he did. It was, and again, the 9th hole, for those that may not know, the 9th hole is the last hole, and that's kind of traditionally the hole where the players will let the caddies tee it up and hit it as well, because he had another grandchild, GT's sister Nina, with them as well, so the caddies were all hitting. And 15 years old, dropped in an ace. And we're gonna play the sound from it in just a little bit. It's incredible.
Yep.
Gary Player basically called it, and Jack Nicklaus called it a few days ago. It's really, really cool stuff. That was really fun to watch. We'll get into another ace that was made that wasn't so fun to watch.
Well, the after effect wasn't so fun.
Yeah. But Tom Watson, and his thought was, I birdied the first 4 holes, and I'm like, no Masters champion. Nobody's ever won the Masters. He's like, I'm not playing. I might as well go ahead and win this thing.
Absolutely.
And he did. He looked great. He's probably thinking halfway through, man, I wish I was playing in this thing, in the Masters.
No kidding. An easy way to not win the Masters is not playing it. So he got rid of that curse angle of this altogether. But an exciting day. This is what we talked about. The par 3, as maligned as it is by the players, superstitiously saying, if you win the par 3, you're not going to win the Masters. Well, we got some good stuff out of it. We got a big moment, and even the most cynical among us in the world of sports can't listen to Jack Nicklaus talk about his grandson and not get caught up in your feels.
You will love this sound. It is fantastic.
What do the kids say? All the feels? All the feels.
All of them.
Big move.
With that
Very
one.
cool.
It was tremendous. Yep. We'll get to that in just a minute.
Off the Top.
Well, the Raptors forced the Celtics into one of their worst offensive games of the season, reducing Toronto's magic number to locking up the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference for the first time to 1. As Toronto absolutely destroyed Boston to take care of business.
Yeah, they did. They're going to be the number 1 seed. Come on. There are a few games left. They're 3 up on Boston. They're going to get that 1 seed. That was the big game. We had just talked about how they had lost the last 3 games to 2 to Cleveland and 1 to Boston. This team that's going to be the number 1 seed. What are they going to do come playoff time when they can't beat these other teams? Boston was a great, after Hayward got hurt, they went on that run. They were playing really well. Now you got Kyrie, having the minor knee surgery. So they're obviously dealing with the injuries. I don't think many are thinking of the Celtics as that team earlier in the season right now going into the playoffs. It's all been on Toronto. Again, they're different this year. Well, I don't know. It seems like when they're playing the Cavaliers, they're the same.
Yeah, no, it seems to snap back to earth.
Yeah.
For Boston, that is tough. It feels like their 1 seed last year, where it feels like a paper 1 seed.
Oh, yeah.
This 2 seed feels about as flimsy, if not worse, because of all the loss of attrition over the course of the season. But the Raptors, some teams just have your number. We talked about this yesterday. That's a difficult thing to overcome, and I didn't see anything last night, especially offensively, for a Celtics team that we know is a good defensive team, but is so banged up that Toronto couldn't turn in a better offensive performance, knowing you're going to need the Dogs to go up against a Cleveland team that can definitely score. you're in a tough position.
Here's
I don't think it's a winning one.
Interesting note here with just a few games left. Cleveland and Philadelphia are tied.
Yep.
So that's a 3 and 4 slot. The difference being right now in the 6th slot.
They play tomorrow night, by the way.
The 6th slot is Miami.
Yeah.
And Cleveland and LeBron hasn't gone out, or LeBron hasn't beaten in Miami
in a long time.
So they may be playing Miami, and if they're the 4th seed, you're going to play the 5. The 4-5 looks like it'll be Cleveland or Philly against the Pacers, and that 3 seed would take on Miami the way it's kind of shaken out right now. So we'll see where that ends up.
You know what that would mean, too, is that if they end up as that 4 seed, they'd end up playing Toronto in the second round.
That's exactly right.
And that is the last thing you want if you're the Raptors.
That's for sure.
I'm really curious to see what goes on with Toronto, because they clearly, when they took on Boston, they knew they needed to turn it up, and they did. And the last few times they've tried to take on Cleveland, it has gone the other way. And to your guys' point, how much of this is mental? How much of this is them getting in their own way mentally as opposed to what the matchups actually are on the court?
Off the top.
Listen, I'm all in on this because this is a fascinating start to what is going to be a fascinating story throughout the entire Major League season. Shohei Ohtani did it again. Hit a home run for the 2nd consecutive game, and doing it off reigning AL Cy Young Award winner Corey Kluber in a 3-2 13-inning win over the Indians.
He's the 4th player as Ohtani in the live ball era, that's 1920, to win as a pitcher. He has that win. He starts again on Sunday. And 2 home runs as a hitter in his team's first 7 games. The 3 others, none of those names include Babe Ruth. It's Bronson Arroyo in 2006, Don Newcomb 1955, and Hal Schumacher in 1934.
That's an odd list. That's an odd compilation of names if you really think about it.
Yesterday he was on the list that included Babe Ruth on 2 different lists. And the whole thing about this, we're talking about Shohei Ohtani so much, it was Zach Cozart in the 13th inning hit a walk-off home run.
Right.
God forbid we should mention his name, right?
Oh, yeah.
He actually gets the walk-off in the 13th inning to beat the Indians, so we got to give him a little bit of love.
He's getting Sister Jeaned in this situation.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing to overcome.
Yeah.
But with Shohei, it's been interesting. He's been great at home in the last couple of games. 4 hits in his first 6 home at-bats for the Angels right now. And Arian, all of this is, again, expectation. We didn't even think he was going to be hitting at this point in the season. And so now I start to wonder, and Trey got mad at me this morning for saying it on First and Last.
I'm mad at you for this.
He got mad at me for this. How much success does he have to have before we finally turn on him? Because people are going to turn on him the minute he falls off. I feel like his spring, his god-awful spring, was the best thing that ever happened in this kid early on.
I agree with.
Can't we just enjoy what he's doing before we are? Yeah. Can't we use the milk before it gets spoiled?
You know how it is. Yeah, let's enjoy it.
No, it's your fault. I'm enjoying it. This is all your fault.
But you know how people are. Oh, let's enjoy it, and then wait, he's up there. Oh, he's been up there too long. Let's rip him and knock him down.
I'm going to enjoy it until it's not enjoyable anymore. We should be enjoying this. You're already bringing the down, man.
I do agree with you on that.
Yeah.
We do seem to build up to tear down.
Listen, I am going to enjoy this all the way through because I don't set these unrealistic expectations, but I saw Giancarlo Stanton get booed in his first home game.
Well, that's just stupid.
I understand
it's stupid.
But that's my point, is that we're dealing with stupid.
That's what people do.
Fans in general
I choose
do
not
this
to deal with the stupid.
Well,
okay, I'm going to enjoy this because it's rare and unusual, and I'm not going to go down that road.
I'm going to enjoy chocolate.
I think what he's talking about is he's not talking about you. He's talking about how the masses think.
Let's deal with them later. Let's just put things. The idea that Giancarlo Stanton was booed, I get it, but come on, one game, oh my God, he's terrible, and the next home game, what does he do? He hits a 2-run homer.
There were 6 chocolate eggs at the beginning of the show. There is 2 left, and I have not had one.
I've eaten 3.
No, I haven't done the read yet. I'm going to do the read, Stanzik.
Yeah,
relax.
Stanzik, just sit
all
there.
is well. Remain calm.
Off.
It's 6:13. We'll get the dadgum read in. I'm just mad that Junior is bringing us down on Shohei Ohtani already.
With you get mad pretty easily.
Shut up. I don't know what you're talking about.
Guys, you know what happened, though? Shohei Ohtani won the Pacific League MVP last year in Japan.
Yes, he's already had a win as a pitcher and 2 home runs as a hitter. So we'll give him our MVP moment of the week. And it's brought to you by Sport Clips. Check in online at sportclips.com/check-in. And claim your spot today.
Okay. Off the top.
And we continue. Sort of what we were talking about because Junior got me all mad. Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and Gary Sanchez, the Yankees' 2, 3, and 4 hitters, all hit home runs in a 7-2 win over the Rays.
Not too bad. They all had 1 hit for the game, and it was all a home run. Each had 2 ribbies as well. Yankees 2, 3, 4 hitters all homered in the same game one time last year. It was in September against the Twins. It was Judge, Sanchez, and Didi Gregorius. All hit it, so they did it here. This is more the expectation. Now, 3 of them in a game, I doubt we're going to get all the time, but as we just talked about from yesterday, Is it going to be feast or famine? Something we saw last year and something we wondered if it was going to change this year. And it's very easy in baseball to keep those stats. Are we going to see monster home runs and monster number of strikeouts again? Or is that going to change?
Yeah, you hear Aaron Boone talking about these guys after the game and basically said, I've been telling them you're right on the cusp of clicking. It's all on the cusp of coming together for this group of hitters, especially in the middle of this order. But to the point we talked about the other day with Didi Gregorius is you've got so many guys capable of going off, you don't need this to happen all the time. It'll be fun when it does, but it doesn't need to happen. And Aaron Judge is the perfect mouthpiece for this group because he said, we're not excited about this. We're going out here and doing our jobs. He is the consummate Yankee in this situation. He's got that air of Jeter in the way that he deals with the media and with success that's going to steady the group.
Yeah, listen, there's so many ways they can win as long as they get decent pitching. I mean, it's ridiculous. By the way, those 3 home runs from those 3, Stanton, Judge, and Giancarlo, the home runs traveled a combined 1,246 feet, according to StatCast, an average of more than 415 feet. So that's a ridiculous thing. Get used to it. I feel bad for the rest of the American League. Look, the Houston Astros don't care because they beat the Yankees last year and went on to win the World Series. But they're going to be problems for everybody. The question is, will they have enough pitching going forward? But it's going to be fun to watch them bludgeon people all season long in the Bronx. All right, that was Off the Top. We are Golic and Wingo, and we're going to get back to what we started the show with, which was not our beef with Stu Gatz. No, we don't have a beef with Stu Gatz. He has a beef with us. Let's be
exactly right.
I inverted the process. Mm-hmm. I apologize about that. But the thing that we were talking about was the par 3 contest. I mean, I was just watching on the television yesterday. I got misty watching, okay? It was ridiculous watching GT, Jack Nicklaus's 15-year-old grandson, step off the caddy and just take a couple of practice swings and absolutely nail that shot on the 9th hole of the par 3 course and put it in the hole. His first ever hole-in-one. By the way, I'm still looking for my first, let alone at the Masters with my granddad being Jack Nicklaus. And also, you can't put this away, he was with Tom Watson and Gary Player.
Yeah, it was.
So you want to talk about
no pressure, huh?
A pressure-packed environment that this kid came through. And again, here was the call as it happened on ESPN.
He only needs to swing about 120 miles an hour. That's a good speed for him. Come on back. There's no miss. Come on. Go in. Yes.
Listen, all hole-in-ones are cool.
Exactly.
Don't get me wrong. But when you have one that is rolling the last 20 feet slowly and everybody can see, there's that one hopper in and you're like, oh, my God, a hole-in-one. This one, you got to watch it roll and you see exactly where it's going. So there was even more of a build-up to it. And then to see, those 3 greats, Watson, Player, and Nicklaus.
Thank you.
Celebrating with this 15-year-old and all going nuts over that. It was an incredible sight. It really was.
That'd be like me getting my first pancake block at the age of 15 in the Super Bowl. That's essentially what that kid just accomplished in that moment. It's unbelievable. It's much better than the other ace we saw that day. It was much less catastrophic.
Yeah.
But the generational lines there to get to share that moment is a great thing in all honesty. Jack, after it, was talking glowingly about that. Glowingly about his grandson and where it ranks in the all-time realm of his accomplishments and what he's been a part of.
And just for those of you that didn't see it on TV, the reaction of Player and Watson was unbelievable.
Really was.
Jack could barely keep it together. So you heard a little bit there. That was Andy North and Curtis Strange and Sean McDonough on the actual call. This was the sound just of Gary Player when he thought, because he hit it just right of the hole where the hill was, and Gary's like, that has a chance.
Oh, GT, you're going to love that. You're going to love it. There it comes. This is going right in the hole, my man. In the hole.
Great, good stuff.
How about that? How about
awesome.
Gary calling it as soon as he hit it? He said, you're going to love it. As soon as it lands on the ground, he says, that's going in the hole, my man.
That's very cool.
You see that pine cone it almost hit?
Yeah.
That was inches from being a completely different story, all because of some woodland debris. I would have been furious.
Woodland debris.
By the way, the reason all those guys can be so happy for a 15-year-old kid, because what's the one thing that adults we like to see less and less? Kids that are way better than us at stuff.
Yeah.
They can all be happy because they've already got aces on the resume. That's the thing, is I look at this now and I go, that's great. Where's mine?
Don't have one.
Don't have one on the resume. My grandma Jan, mom's mom, 3 hole-in-ones on her resume.
You're right.
And I guarantee she wouldn't give me one, and I don't blame her.
Yeah. It was just fantastic. By the way, Stanzik just told me he has 2 holes in one, and
what?
Now I'm very depressed.
Really?
You have 2?
Yeah, 2 year apart, July 4th, 2 years in a row.
No way.
You are a Yankee Doodle dandy, Stanzik.
Trey, I think I asked you this. What's the closest you ever got?
Oh, I've got like a foot. Oh no! I almost bounced one over the cup, and then I missed the birdie putt, which was just the worst. It was like 3 feet away. I was terrible.
Yeah,
it was in front of a pro too, not Jack Nicklaus, but like a club pro, and I totally bought it.
Is that why? Because how close was it to the pin? Because my point is because we brought this up. Allie had the same story on First and Last this morning. She missed a hole-in-one by about 6 inches, and then she said she missed the birdie putt after the fact. And I said, what group of monsters were you playing in where that wasn't a gimme after?
Yeah, that's true.
I would not even have dreamed of touching that ball. That's in the pocket, and I'm muttering on to the next hole.
That's fair. Although I wanted to. First of all, I mean, as soon as I hit it, Brian said, "Oh, that's really good," and it went right over the hole and rolled about 3 feet past, and then I totally.
Oh, that's a shame because you want the natural bird.
Of course, you want that. I can't have nice things.
No,
that's the way it happened.
Can't.
But you know who can have nice things? Jack, 6 Masters, and this was him talking to Tom Rinaldi afterwards.
Curtis Strange stopped you on your way past the booth and asked you how you would rank what you just saw from GT.
Number 1. You know, what I did didn't make any difference to me. I can't talk. Watching your grandson do something that's pretty special. And there we go. We got a few twos. And we talked about 3 days ago. And I said, GT, do you want to hit the ball in 9? He said, sure. I said, well, I think you're going to make a hole-in-one. That's what I told him 3 years ago. He said, okay. He's never made a hole-in-one. That's his first hole-in-one. Pretty special, wasn't it? Very special.
Jack barely keeping it together.
Oh, incredible.
Just
He's
great.
Got 22 grandkids, and he wanted to, over the years, make them all part of the par 3. He doubled up yesterday, as we talked about GT, and GT's sister, Nina, was also there. She was taking some hits as well, but just a very cool family moment and a very, very proud. You know, at that point, he wasn't Jack Nicklaus. He was a proud grandpa.
Yeah, and the great thing about that is GT is Gary Nicklaus's son.
Right.
And Gary was on Jack's bag at the actual Masters in 1986 when he came back on Sunday to win his 6th and final green jacket in his 18th major. And there's a great clip on YouTube out there where on 16, which is a par 3, Jack took a little 3/4 5-iron and hit it close. And as the ball's in the air, Gary said, "Be the right club." Jack turns to him and says, "It is." Let it within 2 feet, and he made the birdie putt. Just fantastic stuff. So congratulations. That's why we love the Masters, and we can't wait. First round action going to get going at Augusta in a couple of hours from now.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
So we were supposed to have Johnny Manziel.
Yes, we were.
On the show today, and for a variety of reasons, apparently.
Let's not say a variety of reasons. Yeah. He went on Dan Patrick's show yesterday. He sounded idiotic in what he said and decided not to do any more media. Is there anything more? Seriously. I mean,
that's not what we were told.
We can be told what we want. You want my opinion? He stuck his foot in his mouth, and it basically his people said, all right, you're not going on anything else because we don't need that anymore. That's my take.
I understand that.
Okay.
So for what Manziel said that got people like you up in arms was he said, look, if Cleveland had done their homework, they would have known that I was not a guy that was big into film, and they probably shouldn't have taken me if they had done their homework. I have to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I have zero problem with that.
Okay.
Zero.
Fine.
Because he's right. He's absolutely right. Now, you can make the case. Here's the exact quote. If Cleveland did any of their homework, they would have known I wasn't a guy who came in every day and watched film. I wasn't a guy who really knew the X's and O's of football. So that was the quote. And people are now saying, like you, oh, Johnny Manziel is blaming the Browns. I don't think that's what he was doing. I think he was being honest, and people took it a certain way.
Well, he was blaming the Browns. Partly. You can't say he wasn't. He's partly saying this is the Browns' fault. Forgetting even that, whether you like him saying he was honest, and I know people out there are like, well, we want our guys to be honest. You know what? No. Every now and then, whether it's not a lie, just don't say anymore. Let me give you this example, okay? You are a big shot coming out of college. In the media world, you get a job at a highfalutin station, right? And it doesn't work out for you. You don't do well, and you get fired, okay?
Yep.
And then you want to make a comeback. And then you're making a comeback if you start out at smaller networks or whatever, and to try and build yourself back up, someone does a story on you, and you say, you know what? That station, they should have known. I didn't watch sports.
Yeah.
I didn't really write things. I didn't really do anything well.
That's fair.
Why would you want to say that?
Yeah,
whether it's true or not, why would you want to say that when you're trying to get back into the league?
You're exactly right there.
That's only my point.
There are 2 points to this. Number one, should he have said it? Probably not, knowing the contest.
Point. Right.
It's the same reason why I don't think Baker Mayfield should be doing this webisode, because it just confirms some confirmation bias for people. But if you really look at what he said, he's absolutely correct. And then he went on to clarify it. He said, draft a quarterback in the first, and this is on Johnny on Twitter now. Draft a quarterback in the first round and put him into a toxic quarterback room versus what it was like my second year with McCown. Completely different situation. It's all about the right fit, and mine in Cleveland wasn't right. That's just the facts. I also have nobody to blame but myself.
Yeah.
And I think this would have been much better if he had started that thing with Dan and said, look, I have nobody to blame but myself. However, I'm just not giving the Browns the benefit of the doubt. They've won one game in the last 2 years. They have botched this 100 times over.
We're getting into things I agree with you with about.
Don't do that, because that's bad for radio.
Should they have known about this? But where I disagree with you is don't say it.
Yeah.
Why are you're trying to get back in a job where you just admitted publicly to everyone you didn't give a damn? Okay? And now I know there's this redemption story where now all of a sudden you do, and you're out of the league, and now you had your issues off the field and you're making a comeback. Everybody likes a good redemption story, but you know what? You can filter what you say. And here he didn't. And it comes off, listen, I wasn't going to take the guy anyway, but that's just me, but I'm not running a team. Maybe there's a team out there. People are putting him with New England, in certain situations.
Good luck with that.
No shot, I think, on that. But regardless, he's trying to get back in the league, and he has every right to try and get back in the league. And the main thing is I hope he gets his personal life squared away, which he seems to be going in the right direction. At least that's what we hear, getting married and the whole deal. But, man, you did not need to offer that up. So I completely understand why all of a sudden he's not on our show, or I guarantee he ain't going to be anywhere else, is because they're like, okay, you need to not talk anymore and just let your play do your talking from now on, because even though you may have meant it a certain way, it was really your fault, and you're just explaining the situation and how it came out, but it doesn't look good and doesn't sound good.
It didn't sound good.
Right.
I think that's the most important thing. And that part I agree with you, but see, this is the dilemma we get in all the time. What do we always say? We just want people to be honest with us. And then he's honest with us, and they're like, I can't believe you said that. So I feel like we put people, we being the collective media, which I hate using, by the way, at times we expect people to do this, and when they do it, they're like, I can't believe you said that. No,
there's honesty, and they're saying it the right way. That's the thing. Second thing you read, that was honest.
Yes.
And if he had just said that, that's cool. And it was honest.
Yeah.
What he said about the Browns should have known, and just really letting everybody, we kind of knew he wasn't very well prepared.
That was obvious.
When you're reading your playbook on the plane going to Vegas, we kind of knew that, but you hate hearing the guy say it. It's like another subject we're going to talk about, in college football.
We will.
Where you know about it, it all happens, but when you hear it, it just doesn't sound right.
Yeah. My issue is I have no problem with him being honest about the situation with Cleveland, because let's be honest, Cleveland, I've said this before, and look, I think GM John Dorsey has turned the page, and I think they're actually doing the right things now. It has to translate into wins, but I think they're actually, to quote his phrase, getting real players now, which is what they were doing, which was what they weren't doing before. But again, I'll go back to every quarterback drafted in the first round by the Cleveland organization with a myriad of different player personnel guys, head coaches, and GMs. They've never gotten it right.
Yeah.
From Tim Couch to Brady Quinn to Brandon Whedon to Johnny Manziel.
And let me say, we got a quick tweet that says, but didn't Johnny call the Browns and tell them he was their guy? That's the other side of this. And my son Mike was talking about it this morning because he went through the whole, it wasn't around when I was getting ready for the NFL. It's around now, these places that you go to work out. Yes, Johnny did that. Your job, when you go to those places, that place's job is to prepare you for the drills that you need to know and how to handle talking to people. How, and the most important thing, how do you hide your weaknesses? So you don't study film. You don't know X's and O's. Well, come out and show your personality. That's what Johnny Manziel does. He's showing his personality. I'm your guy. You want to draft me. He's doing all of that to talk around the fact that he didn't know X's and O's. He didn't study his playbook. Do something new. What did he do in his pro day? He put his shoulder pads on. Nobody puts their shoulder pads on and throws at pro day.
In camo shorts.
Do all these things to, hey, look at this over here, and don't realize I don't study film or I don't know X's and O's. So he did what people do. You hide as best you can your weaknesses and hope who's ever going to hire you doesn't figure them out.
Which, again, I put squarely on Cleveland.
That part of it, I put
squarely on them. They had to figure this thing out.
Cleveland has a horrible track record, so it's not like you can defend them anymore. This is all about Johnny. This isn't about Cleveland. This is about Johnny.
What have we? Well, it's a little bit about Cleveland. This is what we've said about the entire time. What is the pre-draft process? It's two different things for what side you're on. If you're a player, all you're trying to do is increase your market value. That's all you're trying to do. If you're the team, you're trying to get as much information as possible. So on that level, I give Johnny all the credit in the world for putting himself in the best position to be drafted, and the onus is on the team to make sure they do their homework. And whether you agree with how he said or not, he's absolutely right in that they clearly didn't. Now, he's not helping himself.
No.
He's not helping himself by saying it now, but that's on them as much as it is on Johnny. Coming up, there's a guy that I really love, my road dog.
Hello?
He said something yesterday that raised a lot of eyebrows, not quite to the Johnny Manziel level, but it's something that maybe we're peeling back the onion a little bit that people need to understand.
Love scoring amazing hotel deals? Then you've got to get the Hotel Tonight app. Forget scrolling through never-ending lists of hotels. Hotel Tonight shows you a select list of incredible deals at hotels you actually want to stay at. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you can book up to 100 days in advance in top destinations and up to a week in advance everywhere else. Want to get those deals? Yeah, you do. Download the Hotel Tonight app now.
Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. And for those of you that have watched over the years on NFL Live, you know there's a special place in my heart for Herm Edwards. He's my guy, my road dog. Love him to death, and I wish him nothing but the best when it comes to his next chapter in his career as he's out coaching the Arizona State Sun Devils. And if you didn't think this was actually how he felt,
you play to win the game.
You might know that now because of what he said that got some people a little upset when he went on a radio station.
Yeah, he did. He basically, and he had said he had told his players this, and as they're getting ready to get to the end of spring ball, I think their game is April 12th or 13th.
13th.
The 13th. He basically said it's getting to be cut time. You know, the guys are going to be on the team. Some guys won't be on the team. Basically saying, hey, some of you guys, you're not going to be playing. You're going to get cut. You know, and it's a word you don't hear in college sports because, you know, you're on a scholarship at times, but we certainly know people that lose scholarships. So we know when Herm got this job, they said they were going to treat it, he was going to treat it like an NFL job.
Right.
Like an NFL organization. And this fits along those lines. You know, he had said there had been guys that were in the training room he thought maybe a little longer than they should be. And when he kind of made this edict, he said it's interesting. All of a sudden they were out on the field practicing, you know, again. And there are some players that are wondering if this is just a way to motivate the players. But he told them, he said, and if you're one of those guys that get cut, you will still have your financial aid. If you choose to stay, all your school will be paid for, unless, you know, you want to transfer somewhere else. But you can stay. You just won't play if you get cut. And you can finish school, and it will be paid for. And it certainly raised an eyebrow because on its surface, when you say that, you're like, whoa. Wait a minute.
People don't get cut from college
They don't
teams.
get cut.
However,
I'll say this. Again, it's like when you hear it, does it make it worse than if you don't hear it? Because this happens all the time. This happens all the time, especially when you change coaches. Because a new coach comes in, has a way he likes to not only run his show, but run his team and the type of way he's going to have the offense and defense run. And if you're a guy that kind of doesn't fit that bill, then they move on. It all depends. If you sign a 4-year scholarship, that's why you'll keep your money, or sometimes scholarships have been year to year.
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't understand. When they hear scholarship, they think for the most part, it's a 4-year full ride.
When I signed my scholarship at Notre Dame, it was year to year.
Year to year.
Now, a lot of schools have changed that. One of the reasons being for this, all of a sudden it's year to year. You come back 1 year, there's a new coach, and you don't have a scholarship anymore, and you're like, what the hell just happened?
Right.
So they'll give you a 4-year scholarship. That way, no matter what, as Herm said, you could say you're still getting your education paid for. You're just not going to be playing football.
So my question to you is, do you have a problem with what he's doing?
Well, I think like anything else, I don't. The reason I have less of a problem with this is because he came in saying, I'm going to run this like an NFL show. Now, there may be some people that have a problem with that. And let's look ahead a little bit, and forgetting if I have a problem with it. Is the school, or is he going to have a problem with it when he goes into a living room and tries to recruit a kid? When you kind of know this happens, some kids maybe don't know what happens, quite honestly, but it does happen. So let me first and foremost say
a lot.
It happens a lot. But now players know this. So now Herm's sitting in your living room, and, there's a legitimate question of, Coach, there's a chance, even though you want to hire me, you'll hire me, even though you want to give me a scholarship, that you may kick me off the team or cut me from the team. It's a real possibility because Herm has said that. So,
but that happens
all
the time.
But when you hear it and say it, and now that's usually not something that's discussed. Here's the point, I guess. Why put yourself in a position where you have to answer more questions, right? We always talk about that in the locker room. Why say something where all your teammates are now going to get asked about it and you have to keep talking about it? So this is rarely brought up in a living room. The talk of, hey, you know what, if for some reason I'm not playing well, is my scholarship going to get taken away? Or, as I said, a lot of times this happens when a new coach comes into the picture. So do I have a problem with it? It doesn't sound good. But Herm has been upfront from the beginning.
That's exactly right.
You can like or dislike that, but he's been upfront from the beginning saying, I'm treating this now like an NFL program.
And the one thing you'll know about Herm, he's a straight shooter.
He is a straight shooter.
He will tell you exactly what's going on. And then, isn't that what any player wants in any situation? Just tell me what the parameters are, and this is what I have to deal with, and I'll be fine one way or the other.
I don't know how much the school like that when you try and go for the student-athlete side of this thing.
And to his point, he said they'll still be students. Right. They just won't be athletes anymore.
Yeah. It's another one of those things where you said it right. It's peeled back a little bit and you find kind of the ugliness of this, that it happens all the time, but a lot of times you just don't want to hear it.
Right.
And Herm has said, Herm has said it in a motivating way, but that's Herm. Herm tries to find a way to motivate you. And a lot of people are going to say, you guys are just saying this because you like him. I do like him. Yeah. And I would trust Herm to coach my kid.
Absolutely.
To say this out loud, though, I'm not going to lie. I just wonder what the bounce back may be on him and what may cost him in recruiting down the road a little bit.
Well, we'll find out. Yeah. And I'm sure he'll be able to live with that one way or the other. But the other thing is, a lot of times when scholarships are offered, people say this all the time, hey, we're going to give you a scholarship. And they offer it to a bunch of people hoping that they'll get some and some won't. And then when that kid goes to get that scholarship, coaches say, oh, yeah, we didn't have one for you anymore. Right. That also happens all the time. By the way, his quarterback says, hey, it ain't might. He's going to cut some people. When you're in the league, you need to look out and be cleared. So people are understanding the message. And that was Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Coming up, 9-time major winner Gary Player will join us.
I'm a one-trick pony, literally. I show up at kids' parties and act cute. That's pretty much it. So excuse me for being bitter. When Geico says not only could we save you money on car insurance, but we do more. Like give you 24/7 access online, over the phone, or even via our award-winning mobile app. Well, ooh la la, aren't they multi-talented? Hey, I said organic carrots.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
Golic and Wingo with you, ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Glad you're with us on Thursday, day one of the actual Masters. Cannot wait. The par 3 contest was absolutely amazing. GT Nicklaus, Jack Nicklaus's grandson, hits an ace on the 9th hole, his one swing of the day, and it goes in his first ever ace. Fantastic.
Incredible. We do have to talk about Tony Finau, though, and his hole.
How about that?
What happened there.
Yeah, Tony Finau. Well, listen, he's supposed to tee off today at 12:42.
12:42. This is his first Masters.
Yes.
He's playing in. He was playing in the par 3 as well. His kids and his wife were going around with him on the par 3.
Yep.
He had a hole-in-one that was crazier than GT's, for sure. And as he was he ran down the fairway as he was celebrating, and he had the sudden burst of a thought that he was athletic enough to turn while he was running and start running backwards. And as he turned, he rolled his ankle. And as he was going backwards, he stepped on it again, and he dislocated his ankle.
Yeah.
He went down and was sitting down, and his ankle was dislocated. He reached down, and he pushed it back into place.
That was the weirdest thing. I mean, we just saw it again on TV. He snaps it back in.
He actually just takes his fingers and he pushes. Just think of that, like that outside ball of your ankle.
Oh.
He pushed it and it went back into place. He started walking and was limping, and then he called people out to him, and he's going to get an MRI today. And we're going to have to see it now. This is twofold. There's an alternate there.
Yep.
That waits for everybody to tee off in the first round, right?
Correct.
That can go in.
There's several alternates that are hanging around. Yeah.
And we don't know. Tony's getting an MRI, and then he's supposed to tee off. And I wouldn't blame a guy, Trey, at all if he wanted to try and play. This is his first Masters. If he wanted to try and play, it's hard to think he just dislocated his ankle and popped it back in. I mean, that he would be able to, if he could make the cut, play 4 rounds. So there's the thought of he doesn't play the alternate gets in. He tries to play and has to pull himself out, and the alternate's like, oh,
really,
God.
Dude?
You know, But I can't blame the guy if he wants to give it a go and try. But we have no idea what the results are from the MRI. But how wild is that? A hole-in-one, you're celebrating, and you dislocate your ankle and pop it back in.
All right, hold on a minute. Brett, you have a point of clarification here?
Masters does not have alternates.
They do not have
alternates. They do not.
It's a very rare situation. It's the only major that doesn't have alternates.
Okay. All right.
I feel like I should have known that, and I feel bad.
Listen, you would have known that way before me.
I just
figured there were alternates all the time.
John Daly at Crooked Stick in 1991 when he won the PGA,
right.
I think he was like the 5th alternate.
So forget the last 30 seconds of what I was saying about an alternate feeling bad if Tony tries.
Bring it all back.
So
let's just bring it all back.
I would have thought Tony would probably want to try and play anyway.
Yeah. Let's bring it all back.
Yeah.
Bring it all back. Hey, we're presented by Progressive
there
Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
You think he'll play?
Tony? I think he'll go. And the question is,
he'll give it a shot. How long he can go?
Because when we had Marty on yesterday, people don't understand how hilly that course is.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't translate on TV how the topography is really. Yeah. There's a lot of elevation.
You know what he needs to do?
Huh.
He needs to show the officials there that tape and said, "Hey, can I get a cart?" What do you think the chances are of that?
0. By the way, Finau has played in 7 majors and has made the cut 5 times, but this again would be his first Masters appearance. The sickest thing in the world is just watching him just shove it back in.
Just popped it right back in.
Just shoved it back
pretty
in.
easily.
I'm good. It's like, oh, look, there's my ankle bending the wrong way.
At what point, as you look down, you had to be going, oh, my God, tell me I just did this.
This is not happening. This is not how I wanted to go in my first Masters. All right, let's start with something that your son is trying to ruin, and I just don't understand it. We're all in on the Shohei Ohtani train. 2nd home run, this time off Cy Young winner Corey Kluber. A day after his first Major League home run, he took Kluber deep with a 2-run shot. So he has 2 home runs. He's given up 1 home run. So he's on pace right now, Michael, to hit more home runs than he will give up as a pitcher because he's already won his first Major League pitching start as well. He might just be as good as advertised.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what he's done. He's done what 3 others have done that win and a couple of home runs in the first 7 games. Bronson Arroyo in 06, Don Newcomb in 55, and Hal Schumacher in 1934. Babe Ruth not on this list, but let's give a quick, if you even want to make it a golf clap for Zach Cozart, who actually hit the walk-off home run in the 13th inning to get the win.
Nobody talking about that.
Ohtani gets all the love, and Zach's the one who knocked it out of the park on the 13th inning to get the win. But this dude is as advertised. His next start again is on Sunday.
I mean, what else could this guy have done? Let's go through what Ohtani has done already. In his first at bat in the majors, he gets a hit, and then he goes 1 for 5 in the game. But he got a hit in his first at bat, and then he was lit up in spring training. And outside of one bad inning in his debut, he gets the win. And then he's hit home runs in his last 2 games, his first 2 home games at the Big A in Anaheim, and he starts again this Sunday. I mean, literally, this is almost about as perfect as it could be for Shohei Ohtani.
And I think what helps is how bad he did in the spring. I mean, he didn't get a home run, only had a few hits, and he had a 27 ERA. So he came over, this young kid, and he's not having a great spring. So I think that really added to the story.
It certainly has, and clearly that is what's trending with what's going on with Shohei Ohtani. Okay, as we talked about throughout this morning already, it is the first round of the Masters. Ceremonial first tee shot about to be hit between with Gary Player and Jack Nicklaus as they get the tournament underway. And 9-time major winner Gary Nicklaus joined us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Gary Player joined us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line yesterday, taking synthetic motor oil performances to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. And I started the interview because Gary is a fitness guy, and he believes in this long before anyone else did. I started him by asking how many sit-ups and push-ups he'd already done that day.
Well, I try and do, thousands every week. And still keep in shape, keep my weight down, and eat properly, try to sleep properly, and I still beat my age at 82 by an average of 8 to 10 shots. So it's very exciting.
Wow.
Golf is a game you can play forever. That's the great beauty of it. I won a tournament on the U.S. Tour at 63 years of age. For other athletes, you basically finish at an age of 30 to 35. So golf is very special.
Very special, and my friend, let me just say you are very special as well.
Also true.
An inspiration to a whole lot of people to keep themselves in shape. So, and we've always known that about you. One thing I've learned, Gary, over the last few days, I hadn't really seen it. I saw a great piece on ESPN about the history of the green jacket, of when you get it, how long you can have it, how you can wear it. And you were in that piece, and I was... Talk about, again, in 1961, after you won it, you get to keep it for the year, and then you're supposed to bring it back. You didn't really do that. Can you kind of tell us that story?
Well, it was such a pleasure meeting President Eisenhower, who I had such great admiration for, and Bobby Jones, who very well could be the best player that ever lived, and Clifford Roberts, who ran the tournament in the most magnificent manner with discipline and tradition. And I win the tournament. I'm so excited that I go back to South Africa the next day, and I take the jacket with me. Now, 3 days later, the phone goes, and Clifford Roberts was a man of very few words. He said, "Gary, this is Clifford Roberts here. Did you take the jacket back to South Africa?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You're not allowed to do that." So I didn't know what to say. I said, "Well, Mr. Roberts, why don't you come and fetch it?" So, he sort of saw the funny side of it and said, "No, Gary, nobody takes a jacket away from the club." Now, as you saw Sergio, he wore it all over the world, showing people the jacket, which was fantastic. They could see it and touch it. And it's a different deal now, which I think is, and my great hero Winston Churchill said, change is the price of survival. And one has to change, and we live in a world of change. And I think they've made a marvelous improvement.
Well, they certainly have, and I ran into the Sergio at Wimbledon when he was sitting in the royal box, and you have to wear a coat and tie, and he chose the right coat. It was the green jacket, no doubt about it. Gary Player with us, 9-time major winner, 3-time Masters champion. Gary, there has been so much talk about this year's Masters because of what's sort of transpired so far in 2018 in the game of golf. You have a young player like Justin Thomas, who won his first major last year at the PGA, has been dominant, the number one player in the world. You have Dustin Johnson there. You obviously have Jordan Spieth in this generation, who knows what it takes to win a green jacket. And then you have, for lack of a better term in terms of active participants in golf, the old guns, and 47-year-old Phil Mickelson, and now 42-year-old Tiger Woods, who looks like he's close to breaking through and winning again. How much anticipation do you think is about this year's Masters because of all these elements that are sort of coming together?
Quite honestly, I think this is one of the most exciting Masters, and this is my 61st time at Augusta. I don't ever remember seeing a possibility of having the best tournament ever. I mean, it's so great to see Tiger Woods playing well again. It'd be wonderful to see him win after what he's been through, and he's so important to the game. And then you've got Phil Mickelson, as you say, at 47. If he did win, he'd beat Jack Nicklaus's record of the oldest man to win. And then you have Jordan Spieth, as you say, and a guy like Alex Noren, and a guy like, don't forget a man like McIlroy. You know, if he wins, he joins the five of us to win the Grand Slam, which would be a marvelous achievement at his age. So there are a lot of guys. So Bubba Watson's playing very nicely. There's so many guys that are playing well. I've been watching Alex Noren and Justin Thomas. I practiced down in Florida, at Orlando, in West Palm Beach at Jack Nicklaus's golf course. And they are playing so well, and they're hard workers. That Alex Noren's in the gym every morning lifting weights at 6 o'clock. You've got to admire that. It's not easy to do. So, but people today are incentivized. I remember when Arnold Palmer was the first man to win $100,000 in the year. We thought, wow. And now this week, first prize is $1.9 million. So he came along just about 12 years too late. So, but anyway, we didn't worry about playing for money. We wanted to be the best in the world, and that money wasn't the criteria. So we had a wonderful time in our lives. It was a different time to now. You know, we mixed with the average man in the street more. I used to stay in private homes with my family.
Wow.
You'd hardly see that happening with your family today, staying with another family. It's a big business now. They've all got their own jets and managers that are demanding massive fees for appearances, which I'm not sure how good that is. I mean, obviously they've got to be paid, but you mustn't be greedy, because it's going to hurt the game eventually. Sponsors, economics rule.
Right.
And sponsors a lot of times don't want to pay this big sums of money, $500,000 for a day. So, but anyway, golf's very healthy amongst the pros. We need to come up with better ideas for amateurs. And with good leadership, I think we'll do that.
Well, listen, Gary Player with us. You won the 9th of your 9 majors and your 3rd green jacket in 1978 at the age of 42, the same age that Tiger Woods is right now. What advice, if you could speak to Tiger, would you give him about trying to win his 4th at the same time that you won your 3rd?
You don't have to give Tiger Woods any advice. He was on his way. He was on his way before he encountered his difficulties. He was on his way to being the best player that ever lived. I really don't know whether he'll ever be able to beat Nicklaus's record now, but time will tell. So I would never venture to give him any advice, because the man is a superstar. And I don't use the word superstar like a lot of people do. There only been about 12 superstars in the history of the game. But in all sports today, they always say, oh, he's a superstar, or he's a great, and they're not. But Tiger Woods is a superstar.
And Gary, just through years of playing, and then you throw in some injuries, some more serious than others, for any golfer, if you start in your 20s and you're golfing into your 40s and into your 50s, for you, how did your game change just by getting older and your body, not being what it was in the 20s? How does your game change? How does it change as these players get older?
It's a very interesting question, that, and, everybody talks about my 9 majors on the regular tour, but I was the only man in the world that ever won the Grand Slam on the regular tour and the senior tour. And the senior tour, to me, actually was a greater achievement, because I'm the only one that did it. They all tried to do it. And you got to do that after 50. And so in our time, everybody thought you were getting old when you were 50. I'm 82 now, and I still travel all around the world representing companies, doing after-dinner talks and giving clinics, etc., and representing companies, and work like a Trojan. So age is a number. We're supposed to live to 100, but most people don't exercise, they don't eat properly, they don't sleep properly, they don't laugh enough, etc., etc., etc. So in schools, they should be teaching, besides academics, they should be teaching the essential ingredients for life. And unfortunately, schools are not doing that. So for me, I just kept exercising. I kept using weights, and I spoke to Tiger Woods last night. And a lot of these networks are saying that Tiger and Rory are lifting too heavier weights. And Tiger last night said, if it wasn't for my weight training, I wouldn't be playing this week. Yeah, and Rory is the same. Yeah. And I'm the same. I mean, I still lift at my age at 82. I pushed 380 pounds with my legs the other day.
That's unbelievable. And Gary Player is with us. And to that point, you're right, Gary. It's all happening now. but you were the first guy to do this at the time because so many people said lifting weights, that will cut your limberness. You'll get stiff. You won't have the muscles flow through the natural swing. Of all the things that have changed in your life, how gratifying is it to you to see a fitness trailer on the PGA Tour at every stop this week, knowing that never would have happened when you were there and if you had not done the things that you did at that time?
What a good question. Every time I go by that fitness trailer, they've got a skin specialist, a psychiatrist, etc., massages. I get goose pimples because that's what I was hoping would happen, and I didn't think it would eventuate because when I was doing the weight training, even Arnold said to me, man, alive, you're going to the gym and lifting weights, it's not going to do you a lot of good. And I see, all athletes today, even guys who run track, everybody's exercising and lifting weights. Now, there are some that don't, but I mean, strength is speed. And you just got to look at Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods. I mean, look at him. And Dustin Johnson works out hard. There are a lot of guys, lots of guys. Alex Noren is in the gym every morning at 6 o'clock. If you don't work out in athletics today, you're a freak if you continue to play well. I can tell you that.
Gary Player joining us again, 9-time major winner. And one of the great scenes, Gary, is you and Jack Nicklaus, and certainly when Arnold Palmer was still with us, hitting those tee shots on Thursday before the Masters gets going, and Arnie no longer with us. So it's just the two of you and Jack now. Do you foresee in the future, maybe soon in the future, them adding a third, possibly a Tom Watson? Would you be open to that?
Absolutely. I go along with what the club want. They make the rules and I abide by them. So whatever they decide to do is fine with me. And Augusta is very different. You know, they have their own rules and their own ideas, and you go along with it because that's where you're playing that week. That's the house you're going to dinner.
And then about the dinner last night, you mentioned talking to Tiger last night. Well, you all get to eat that dinner. How did you like the Spanish lobster rice served by Sergio Garcia?
It was outstanding. And, Sergio was a very, very good host. He had his own chef do it. He brought the food from Spain. It was something very different. And he had in the Caesar salad, he had a little ingredient from most of the countries that were participating. They come up with very, very nice ideas. And to sit in that room with all those champions is quite an experience. And Ben Crenshaw, who is the MC, mentioned last night, he said, Gary Player won this tournament 57 years ago. Man, I was feeling young until he mentioned that.
So you mentioned, and we read about that salad that had the different ingredients. Was there a South African ingredient in that salad?
If it was, I didn't taste it. I don't know, because we were talking a lot with all the guys. I was sitting with Vijay Singh and Nick Felder and all the guys. You're eating the salad. I wasn't particularly, it wasn't noticeable what country's ingredients were included.
Well, sometimes maybe that means it's a perfect salad because it all blends together.
Yeah.
Gary Player with us, 9-time major winner, 3-time Masters champion. Gary, we've been asking everybody we've had on the show this week who they like this week at the tournament. Are you willing to make a pick who you think might walk away with it all Sunday?
It's very difficult. In this tournament, there are more players. I mean, I've attended this tournament more than anybody. I played it in 52 times, and I've been here 61 times. So having played in it the most, I think this year you got more people that are capable of winning than ever before. And really and truly, to pick a winner is impossible. But I just get a feeling about Rory McIlroy. He's swinging so well. He's exercising with weights and is so strong and is swinging magnificently as we saw him win the tournament down in Orlando. And if he wins, you see, we want to see somebody win who's going to contribute and make a difference to the game. If he wins, he joins us as Grand Slam winners. If Tiger wins, well, it's just a great example for people to realize, keep going, even though you're injured, even though you have other difficulties in life, that you've got the way you handle them. It would be a remarkable effort. You've got a wonderful man like Jordan Spieth and a host of other young guys that if they win, so it's just very, very exciting. We're in for some kind of a tournament this week.
I think that's the majority of opinion, and that's why so many of us, Gary, cannot wait to find out what happens over the next 4 days. 9-time major winner, 3-time Masters champion, champion of physical fitness and laughing, which we are all about. Go do your other 500 sit-ups for the day, Gary. We appreciate you being with us this morning.
Thanks, Gary.
Lovely to talk to you guys. God bless, and God bless America.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Gary, very much. Appreciate it.
How about that send-off?
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
82 years old, all the sit-ups and push-ups that he does. Played 52 times there. He's been there 61 times.
Yep. Pretty good.
It's crazy.
You know, it really is amazing when you see him. He was in the ESPN the magazine The Body issue a couple of years ago as an 80-year-old. He is literally still ripped. I mean, he really is.
He's just an impressive individual.
Yeah.
And great for the game of golf. And again, what is it, about 8:15?
Just
Eastern
under an hour
time?
from now.
He and Jack with the ceremonial tee shots. And you know, I think they both know, and they don't have a say in it. Yeah. If another is added now that Arnold Palmer has passed away, if Tom Watson is going to be that guy, and if so, when he would get added to that group.
Well, it certainly seems like that would be the way things are going.
It does.
And we talked to Jack about that, and he said he would welcome Tom. Tom's 68. Again, Tom won the par 3 contest
yes, he did.
at 68 years old.
When did he,
absolutely amazing.
Was it 2 years ago was his last Masters?
Yes.
So, I mean, incredible what he's done.
Yeah. By the way, Gary was 77, not 80, excuse me, when he posed in the Body issue.
Okay.
Still all right.
Yeah.
I want to be clear about that. But again, all this stuff with physical fitness, especially on tour, is all because of him. Mm-hmm. Because when he started doing lifting weights, people say, oh, you're going to ruin your supple swing. You won't have flexibility. Turns out the exact opposite is true.
Absolutely love the fact you went supple swing.
There you go. Yeah. Smooth, supple, silky.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Every deck is made for standing on, but there's only one that's always had a way of standing out. So if you're looking to bring more style, comfort, and creativity to your life outdoors, call on the brand that's known for making the most in outdoor living. From decking, railing, and lighting to furniture, fencing, and framing, at Trex, we're engineering what's next in outdoor living. To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, call 1-800-289-TREX or visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And after a year out of football, RG3 is back in the game, signing a 1-year contract with the Baltimore Ravens. This really might be it's an interesting situation, Golic, because the Ravens are going to be in the quarterback market because Joe Flacco's contract is coming to the point where they need to start deciding, do we want to go down this road with Joe again and put together another deal to keep him, or are we looking to turn the page?
33 years old as well. Again, we're seeing quarterbacks play longer and longer, but the 11 years in the league, 33.
Right. The question then becomes, do you want him, and at what price do you want him? Because I don't think the next deal that Joe gets is going to be anywhere near the deal he got.
I don't think it is at all.
Won the Super Bowl.
I still give the dude all the credit in the world for betting on himself and absolutely winning in that one and getting a monster deal. No doubt about that.
So the question then becomes, what do you when you see or hear RG3 is signed with the Ravens, what is your expectation?
Well, I mean, the expectation is even if they were to draft someone, you probably don't want because you're not going to draft someone that high. I think they're going to go, down a little lower. If they, in fact, draft a quarterback, that's not going to be the person you want as the backup as one play away from being in the game. So you bring him along, whether it's as the third quarterback, a practice, whatever, probably not a practice. You'd have to cut him first, but have him on the team as that third guy and learning, and you have a veteran backup in Robert Griffin. And I know the first thing that ever comes out when a backup is signed is, how does Colin Kaepernick not have a job?
Right.
I listen, I know, I get it, I understand. I don't have an answer for you.
Well, I think we have an answer.
I think we all know the answer, but, so that's what it's up to the 32 owners, and they have pretty much spoken about that. I remember we had RG3 in studio here, and his main thing was getting to a team before the OTA started.
Correct.
And to me, that's very big for a guy that's trying to reprove himself. So let's again go over in case you have forgotten it or don't remember, the RG3 timeline. 2011 wins a Heisman Trophy.
Sikkim.
I'm sorry?
Sikkim.
Number 2
Sikkim
pick.
Bears.
Oh, okay.
Baylor Bears.
No, okay.
Heisman Trophy winner.
All right.
My alma mater.
Statue.
You talk about Notre Dame incessantly. I can't say Sikkim every
once
in a while.
I mean, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Continue your little spiel.
Okay. Number 2 pick
Baylor.
in the 2012 draft. Again, that monster trade.
Get in the hole!
Right?
Yeah.
For Washington to go up to number 2 and get him. Traded 3 first-round picks and a second-round pick to obtain him in the draft. Leads the Redskins' 2012 NEC East title. Team's first since 1999. 2012 playoff, tears his ACL and LCL. Starts 13 games in 2013 before being replaced by Kirk Cousins. Injures his ankle in 2014, week 2. Plays 9 games that season. Doesn't throw a pass in 2015. Spends 2016 with the Browns, going 1 for 4 in 5 starts, 2 touchdown passes, 3 interception. Is the only Browns quarterback to win a game in the last 2 seasons, which is week 16 against the Chargers.
Say that again.
Yeah. The only Browns quarterback to win a game in the last 2 seasons.
But it's all Johnny Manziel's fault.
And he was out of football in 2017. So he's a guy that wanted to get on a squad before OTAs, and he did here in Baltimore. So obviously, Ryan Mallett was a backup last year. He's a free agent. So basically, we'll see what happens with Mallett. Right now, there really is no competition for him as a backup quarterback. They'll probably bring somebody in to compete for that number 2 job with RG3. But this is all in his position, all you could ask for. Is an opportunity, and now an opportunity before OTA. So you get the playbook, you can have the playbook down, you can get practicing with your teammates and get that cohesiveness before you get into training camp. So he's sitting in a nice situation.
He is.
Well, we'll see what happens playing-wise. I mean, he's a guy who, I remember all the talk, and I remember what I said at the time. Oh, this running quarterback. I said, you'll never be able to live on the run. And it's not like I was reinventing the wheel there.
What essentially ended his career in Cleveland was when he didn't know how to get out of bounds without taking that massive hit on the sidelines in Philadelphia.
Him running so much was one thing, but the other thing that I think we were all surprised about, because he looked an incredible athlete, was his inability to look good either sliding or getting out of bounds. Right. It stunned us at just how bad it looked at times.
It's funny you say that, because he was like, I never knew how to slide, and then somebody sent me his picture of a Little League baseball card, and I texted him and said, RG3, you used to play baseball.
But slide at 10.
Slide at 10, slide now.
Or everybody watch Russell Wilson film on how to slide. So that's my only issue. Well, obviously, the injury issue, and then, again, being able to throw from the pocket. I mean, that's all Flacco does. RG3 is not Flacco. RG3 plays his own way, which can be a little more movement, which we've seen more and more in the NFL. He just struggles running and not getting hurt, and we saw him get hurt in Cleveland, even there with the collarbone.
It's funny you say that about the sliding, and he's with the Ravens, because Joe has that brace on his knee from when he tore his ACL, and every time he slides, that thing catches the
Sticks in the turf,
and he falls. Yeah. So it's like they got the 2 worst sliding quarterbacks right now in Baltimore. But I will say this for RG3, I think it's fair to say that there's still the potential for him to be a pretty good quarterback in the NFL, because he lit the world on fire his rookie year. I mean, he was a superstar. Remember, there was that picture of Morgan Freeman hugging RG3 at some event in the nation's. I mean, people were singing. There was a choir in D.C. that to the tune "Oh Christmas Tree." They said, "Oh RG3, oh I mean, they were all in on this guy, and then he got hurt, and he rushed back all in for week 1 in the 2013 season, and he probably came back too early. And the knee injury never really healed. I'm going to discount his time in Cleveland, because everybody over the last few years should be able to discount their time in Cleveland. Yeah. Because it's been a disaster. I think it's safe to say that there is the potential for him to still be a pretty good quarterback in the NFL.
We'll see. I'm not sure I would even go that far, but the bottom line, it doesn't matter what I think. He's getting his chance, and that's all in his position you can ask for. And he's been working for this moment, so hopefully he can make the most of it. And it's going to have to be make the most of staying behind the line of scrimmage and throwing the ball, whether in the pocket or outside the pocket, and showing his wares that way. Lowest total quarterback rating since 2014, with a minimum of 350 pass attempts. Number 1 is Deshaun Kaiser, who only played last year.
Right.
His total QBR is 29. Number 2 is RG3. And number 3 is Matt Castle. So between injury and let's be honest, when he wasn't injured, sometimes he looked like, wow, and then other times it was like, oh boy, not good at all. So I'll say again, the work he's done now, again, it hasn't been in a uniform, especially last year. He's getting a chance. That's all you can ever ask for in life is to get your chance. You get to put the pads on. You get issued a helmet.
Right.
So now, it's up to you on what you can do with it.
It is amazing, though. Let's just put this in some sort of context. RG3 was the second overall pick in 2012.
Yep.
And now he's back in the league after a year away as a backup, trying to find his way back into hopefully having some sort of a career. The fourth-round pick that same year for that same team was Kirk Cousins, who is now the highest-paid player in all of football.
Isn't that unreal how it works out?
A 3-year, $84 million deal, all guaranteed.
Timing, injury, how you play.
Life comes at you fast,
when you get your opportunity, how ready are you to show what you can do? So many things come into that. But that's the line. You're right. Life comes at you fast.
2012, the world was at RG3's doorstep. He could do no wrong.
Yeah.
He was superhuman. People loved him. Everything was going great. Again, that picture with Morgan Freeman, people they couldn't get enough of RG3. And then here we are less than just over 5 years later, and he's trying to hang on and reboot himself. And the guy that they took 3 rounds after him is now the highest paid player in football.
It's incredible when you think about it. It really is incredible.
The NFL says the slogan is not for long, and that's exactly why. Just think about how much has changed in those 2 players' lives over the last 5 years, and look at where each one of them are now.
And if there's a position that gets a chance, I guess sans a guy like Colin Kaepernick for different reasons, it's quarterback position where you can get your opportunities, and he's
except
getting his.
for Colin.
That's what I said. Sans him.
It's quite frankly, it's ridiculous. I don't want to get into the whole political thing here, but if you're actually looking at skill set, there are so many other quarterbacks that are getting chances ahead of him that are not nearly anywhere as good as him.
Obviously, that's not what's happening.
It's
We're not
nothing to do with skill set.
So.
He's so much better than so many of the other quarterbacks in the league, and we'll see what happens with RG3.
Here's a little insider travel secret. There are tons of empty hotel rooms out there just waiting to be booked. That's why there's Hotel Tonight. Hotel Tonight partners with awesome hotels to help them fill their unsold rooms, which means you get incredible deals. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you can actually book up to a week in advance and up to 100 days in advance in top destinations. So download the Hotel Tonight app to start scoring better deals at better hotels now.
As soon as this weather breaks,
Flip-Flop Fridays, baby.
Are you kidding me? Thong Thursday?
Okay, no.
I mean, absolutely.
No.
Wear the thong.
People are eating.
Oil up. Don't see the problem at all. Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
By the way, that promo we just played of that in-cut or rejoin, whatever you want to call it in radio terms, it said when the weather breaks. The weather's never going to break.
Now, I thought
it's never going to break, and I can't take it anymore.
I thought for sure this week, my wife's in Phoenix, so she's enjoying 85,
good for her.
90
I'm so happy
weather.
for her.
Well, so I'm home with the dogs.
Yeah.
Got to take care of the dogs.
Hey, who let the dogs out?
Thank you. Got to take care of the house, and I got to try and get a little golf in because I'm golfing in the money after the Masters, the Hootie and the Blowfish tournament.
So bring your snowshoes.
I'm trying to practice. I can't. I thought I was going to be with you golfing a little bit. I thought I was going to be at the driving range. Nothing. And now they're talking about snow again tomorrow
and Tuesday.
It's ridiculous.
I can't. I'm at the breaking point.
Yeah,
I'm at the breaking point.
Couldn't agree more.
You know who else is at the breaking point?
Who?
The San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, they are.
This is one of the. I don't think this record got enough attention, and it's over now. The Spurs went 20-62 in 1996 and 1997. Let's be clear. 1996-97 season. I believe that's the year Miles Simon and Arizona won the NCAA championship. Okay, that's how long ago that was.
Yeah.
Every year since that, up until this season, they won at least 50 games. 18 straight seasons of winning at least 50 games. It would have been 20 straight, but the 1999 lockout season was only 50 games total. So it would have been 20 straight years, 50 straight games won, or at least 50.
And it's ending. Done. They're 45-34, just 3 games left, so obviously they can't get to 50. They do have 20 consecutive playoff appearances. That's tied for third longest in NBA history. So that's something they're trying to continue. But, man, I'm telling you, that race that's going on in the NBA and the Western Conference just to make it into the playoffs, It's pretty amazing right now. The standings, you have basically 4 through 10 with what, 2-3 games separating them? 18, 2 games, 3 games, 18 out to 21 out.
Just pick a number. I'll agree with
3. I'll go with 3.
Okay.
Let's go with 3. Utah sitting at 4 right now, and the Clippers sitting at 10, and 3 games separating everything in between. So talk about up in the air, not just positioning, but still who gets into the playoffs and who's left out.
Well, exactly right. I mean, there's going to be all this sort of jostling for tanking for purposes down the stretch, and also these people trying to get into the postseason. Because I know he loves when I ask him this. Brett, for some sort of perspective here, that's 18 straight 50-win seasons. What's closest to that? Do we have something that, I mean, is there somebody other team that was near that at any time?
Probably, but I'm going to have to look into it.
There you go.
Oh, look at that.
Look, he wants to be a part of the show.
Yeah, you got to be ready.
You got to be ready for this kind of stuff.
The other side of that, you look at the Timberwolves, who are sitting right now in the 7th slot, but again, they're 1 game from being out of the playoffs and 1 game from being in the 4th slot. So basically, though, the stat on them is they've had 13 consecutive seasons missing the playoffs, the longest active drought in the NBA. So, you know, they haven't been there and have a good shot to be there, but I love this. I mean, because you're right. You talk about the tanking, and that's for, obviously, the Phoenix Suns of the world. We talked about, you know, stuff that they have been doing in the Sixers years ago, what they were doing and how teams are going about that. But this, man, just to get in. And, I mean, this isn't just to try and squeak into the 8th slot. There are multiple teams in contention for that 4th slot to actually be the home court in the first round.
It's amazing. I feel like the bottom half of the Western Conference playoffs picture is like a game of 52 pickup. You just throw the cards in the air and see where they land.
Boy, it's just crazy. You sit there with New Orleans again. They're 1 game from being out and at the 8th slot, and 1 game from being in the 4th slot with no Boogie Cousins. I mean, I remember Anthony Davis saying, "Man, if we had him, we think we could make a legitimate run in the West." Obviously,
I'm not buying that.
You never know too, because he's not there, but. I love it. I love when you're playing an 82-game schedule, even in baseball, that 162, hockey 82, when it comes down to the last couple of games, and sometimes even in baseball, we see that extra game that has to be played. That's when you go to, we don't put much on game 37 or game 22, or game 14. But, when it comes down to the end of the season, how many of these teams have a game or two like that during the regular season where you're like, boy, I wish I had that one back. Or I wish, I'd have done something a little differently in that game. You start to play the what-if game if you're on the outside looking in.
Last day of the regular season is next Wednesday, April 11th. And just some more context here on the Spurs streak. They had 5 straight seasons where they won 55. They had 60 wins in 3 of the last 4 seasons. And all of this probably still would have been just fine if it hadn't been for the Kawhi Leonard situation. Right. So it really a kudos to what has been for the San Antonio Spurs, and we'll see what will happen going forward with the San Antonio Spurs and Kawhi Leonard and what is destined to be yet another crazy NBA offseason.
Greg Popovich longingly looking to New York.
Exactly.
Why? When you coming back?
Come back with us.
Yeah.
Rejoin the party. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, the party will be rejoined.
Oh, boy.
With this guy.
Cliff, for crying out loud!
Ryan! I don't know how else to say this, so I'll just say it.
What is it, Linda?
I think we should see other people.
Are you breaking up with me? On a roller coaster?
Well, we do have a lot of fun. Maybe we should stay together.
An emotional roller coaster? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I just need a little me time.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.